welcome to DC Music Rocks. The Washington, D.C. region has one of the best local music scenes in the country. We're shining a spotlight on its great songs and incredible people. Tune in, jam on, rock out. I'm your host, Brian Nelson Palmer, and with me today is Elizabeth II. Say hi.
Hi.
It is such a treat to have you here. And so now, if they've never heard of you, how would you describe yourself?
So I would describe myself as Janis Joplin, Joan Jett, and the Blackhearts, as well as the band Metric. So kind of a weird combination between those three artists.
Nice. And if they don't know that sound, is that like rock or pop or what kind of music is that?
So it's like hard rock mixed with a little bit of indie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Ooh, I'm excited. That's a good combination. On our show today, we have news from the DC music scene that we'll share. We have great music by DC artists. And then we also have a very special interview with Elizabeth II. We're going to call her Beth, but with Beth coming soon here. Two quick reminders if you haven't already. First, please subscribe to the DC Music Rocks podcast. Also, every one of our thousands of followers found us based almost entirely on your word of mouth. So if there's someone in your life who loves music, please take a moment to share us with them. I'm honored and I really appreciate you sharing us. Thanks for that. 2, sign up for the email list. Every week, we're finding and sharing all these events, this news, these guests, and this great music. Let us email it to you so you don't have to go looking for this stuff each week. Now let's jump into the news. First news update is announcements. And the big one is, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we have a local music calendar on our website. And I've been struggling because there were some problems with it's the under the hood part of this automated local music calendar that we have, and it is back online and fully functioning. Hallelujah. So we found a developer to help resolve those API issues, and so it's DC's only custom resource where you can find exclusively where artists from DC are playing around the DC area. And it's available to you. So if you haven't visited the calendar in a while, there's the link in your episode notes. Please take a look, and I hope you go see a show. Remember, too, a couple of cool features. You can filter by state or by city. So if you're in Arlington or you're in Maryland or you're somewhere, you can actually filter it down to shows that are only in the region right near you. And then if you've never heard of the band, you can click on their band name and it will take you to their profile in our database so you can preview their music and stuff. So I've got more updates in the works to the calendar because I finally found a developer and I'm so darn excited. But I wanted to share the news. The calendar is back online. So we're back with the show recommendations, and gosh darn it, I feel good. It's nice.
Feel good?
You know, Beth, it's I've been stressing about it because it was like, man, there's this cool place to find all the shows, and then it stopped working and I was heartbroken, and now we're back. So that's exciting stuff. Now, next news update is new releases. Remember, these are all available right now wherever you get your music online. And in your episode notes, there's a link to their profile, which has their iTunes and Spotify links so you can listen to this stuff. And of course, we have their website and Facebook for more information about them too. So now, new releases. Black Dog Prowl released State Radio. It's a hard rock, heavy metal single. They're recommended if you like Soundgarden, Nirvana, Fu Manchu, or Alice in Chains. Check out this single by Black Dog Prowl called State Radio. Alex Vaughn released The Shift. The Shift is a 9-song full R&B album, and she's recommended, boy, if you like Lauryn Hill, John Legend, Mary J. Blige, Adele, Alicia Keys, her vocals are heavenly. So I love me some R&B, and I love me some Alex Vaughn. Check out that album, The Shift. Clones of Clones released Just a Girl, which is its pop rock single, and it's actually a cool interpretive cover of the No Doubt song, Just a Girl, from back in the day. So if you like that, Clones of Clones, props to you guys. They kind of did an interesting rendition of it, and it's available to you. Check that one out. Nah released Be Better and Bodies. It's 2 singles. They're separate ones. It's a pop electro indie singles. They're recommended if you like Courtney Barnett, Tame Impala, Pond, or Hospitality. You might love Nah. NAH period. Check them out. It's all linked in your episode notes, so you can just click on it and check it out. Aztec Sun released In the Name of Everyone, which is actually an 8-song funk album. They're recommended if you like Sly and the Family Stone, Snarky Puppy, James Brown, The Suffers, Alabama Shakes. I love me some Aztec Sun. check that one out, In the Name of Everyone. Color Palette released Dark Days, which is an electro pop single. They're recommended if you like Depeche Mode, The Smiths, or M83. You might really love Color Palette. And I just found out today I actually get to play, my band Fellowcraft is going to play a show with them and Coral Benders at Black Cat on December 22nd. I'm kind of excited about that one too. But these new singles that Color Palette has coming out are awesome. So if you haven't checked those out yet, go ahead and check them out. I also have two videos I want to share with you. First is Jay Diamond's released Hypnotized. It's an electro-pop music video. It's a cool storyline too. It's almost like a horror movie / kidnapping / prisoner theme, but it's a storyline video, and it was nicely done. So that's linked in your episode notes. You can check that out. And then Louisa Hall released Fears, it's a cool folky pop song, and it's about people's personal fears. I really dug that one. It was a cool story. So check that one out. Now, I've been talking a little bit about new releases. Beth, why don't you talk about your new releases? What's the latest in the world of music for you?
In the world of music for me, well, I actually have a single that's going to be coming out in December. Song title coming soon. So just keep your eyes peeled for that.
I'll be sure to share it whenever that drops. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. And the latest single, if they're going back in time, when was the last one you released? Was earlier this year, wasn't it?
It was a while ago. I believe it was earlier this year. Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah. 2018. I'm pretty confident there was something. When did it drop? Yeah, actually, both of them came out. Lonely and Devastation. We'll play one for you so you can get a flavor for it. But both of those came out in 2018 as well. So, boy, lots of music coming from you this year.
Lots of music.
I like it. And our last news update is shows. So take a minute and look at your personal calendar right now. Are there any shows on it coming up? Because if not, I hope you hit pause and take a minute and add one. Right now in the episode notes for this show, we've gone through and picked a few of the upcoming shows we're stoked about. You'll also find a link to the local music calendar on our website. It's the only place online that's showing you exclusively where DC's talent is playing around town. And it has all the show options, more than just what we recommended. So the venue, also fun thing, the venue may be ones you've never heard of or been to, and I hope you go on a local music adventure around town this week and check out one of those. They make great date nights, night out with family or friends, and it's the best place to make new friends, checking those out. So check out our recommendations. And Beth, for you, upcoming shows for Elizabeth II.
Yes.
Where are you? So
I've got about 3 upcoming shows for Elizabeth II. The one that is just right around the corner is going to be on November 16th at the Dewdrop Inn. It is a This Could Go Boom event, which is a nonprofit that's recently come inside the world of DC music, and their goal is to promote women in music as well as other different kinds of people. So we've also got a show that is going to be with Kid Brother at Tally Ho on November 21st.
Ooh, so that's going to be big.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm so excited for that. And we also are playing Songbird for the very first time on December 1st with a band called Cleopatra.
Ooh. Man, all those sound fun.
Yeah.
And a trip out to see Kid Brother out in Leesburg is always a good time.
I'm really excited.
Those guys rock. So wow, good shows. All right. And those dates one more time. That was when? November 16th?
November 16th, November 21st, and December 1st.
Lots of options to catch you some Elizabeth II. Now, we've been talking a little bit, so let's jump into some music. My first track for you today is one, Beth, I've been listening to Elizabeth II ever since your single started coming out, and I've been a fan. And I heard this one and I thought, oh man, this kind of is a cool vibe that seems to, I don't know, it kind of goes with you. I'm interested to see what you think. So this is the first one I want to share is Flying Jacob, and the track is called You Consume Me.
DC Music rocks. Great jams to hear by artists from here.
Let go of my heart. Please let me go. You consume me, abuse me. Now let you every time. I don't understand why I have no control when it comes to you. I need to break free from whatever you have on me. I'd give it all if you asked. Every single little piece of me. for letting you take control. And I can't shake you, but you won't choose me. I think I'm starting to hate you. My heart can only take so much. Oh God, I think I'm in love. I'd give it all if you asked. Every single little piece of me. Well, baby, please don't ask. You know it would destroy me. I'd give it all if you asked. Every single little piece of me. Well, baby, please don't ask. You know it would destroy me.
Flying Jacob, and the track is You Consume Me. And that's off their album Renew, and such powerful sounds coming from those guys. You know, this is one of those small world stories because I went to see Haley Fahey play a show, and she was opening up for another artist, Luke James Schaefer, and I saw that show, and I met their guitarist, and their guitarist is like, oh yeah, I'm in this band. And I checked out the band, and holy smokes, they rock. He's the guitarist for Flying Jacob. So they've got multiple music videos out. They've got a whole presence, and I love the fact that I get to share them. And then when I was listening to them and you, it's like, oh man, it's kind of a cool, it goes together.
They were so sick.
I'm such a fan of this. And the story behind their name it's a Swedish casserole. It's comprised of chicken, bananas, bacon, and peanuts. That's what a Flying Jacob is.
I had no idea, but now I kind of want to make it.
Right, it kind of sounds
really good.
Like chicken, bananas, bacon, and peanuts are not something that I would normally put together.
But who knows?
But the way it comes together as a band is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm open-minded. Let's do it. They're Alexandria, Virginia is them. And they formed in 2015. They've been around for a while. So a lot more from them. So check out their profile on dcmusicrocks.com in our DC artist database. Or you can just, in your episode notes, just click on their name and it'll take you right there. So you can scope out their music and check out more of their collection. They're recommended if you like Hailstorm, Dead Sarah, or Janis Joplin. You might love Flying Jacob and more from them. Now, I've got Beth here with me, and so Elizabeth II, I should say her full name so you guys remember her full name, because you're looking up Elizabeth II online. I've got her with me, and my favorite way to introduce her is to play you some of her music. So let's do that right now. This is Elizabeth II, and the track is Lonely.
DC Music rocks.
You woke me from my dream, destroyed my self-esteem. It's sworn enemies and feel suffocating. You raised me from the dead. You raised me from my bed. Those sheets seem so thin and I too comforting. Lonely, killing me so slowly. I wish I had somebody, a night to take me home. Crazy, that's what they keep saying about me now and lately. I'll pack my things and go. You held my hand through life. You held my hand through
here it is, Elizabeth II, and the track is Lonely. That's a single that she released in 2018, and man, really enjoying the Elizabeth II stuff. Love
Thank
what you
you.
got going on here.
Thank
This is
you.
cool. And so the song Lonely, what's it about?
So the song Lonely is about realizing that you just don't want to be with a certain individual and other people just aren't keen to your presence. So you're like, okay, I'll just be alone. I'll just go home. So it's a pretty, set in stone theme that you'll find in a lot of songs. But what I try to do is combine it with a very catchy melody that I'd like to consider a very catchy melody. And then a super sick shreddy guitar solo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, anything with Elizabeth II is going to be a shreddy guitar solo. So this is good. I love it. And so let me give you a proper introduction here. So on DC Music Rocks, we're shining a spotlight on the great songs, artists, and incredible people behind the DC region's music scene. Elizabeth II is a dynamic and punchy rock and roll artist from DC and a guitarist, I should say. I mean, it's an artist, she's a guitarist, and she's a singer-songwriter. She has an eclectic Stevie Nicks nostalgia blended with a new age youthful edge. So Elizabeth II combines thunderous vocals, bluesy guitar riffs, and pulsating rhythms. Beth Cannon, her real name, is a rising guitar force in the local DC music scene. She's pairing bluesy B.B. King styled licks along with the contemporary solo styles of Steve Vai, and she's earned praise from world-class guitarists like Slash from Guns N' Roses, Nick Johnston, and Ken Thrasher from Escape the Fate. So just lots of kudos. And I came across her when she started releasing these singles in 2018. I've been a fan ever since, and so it's an honor to have you here. Thanks for being here, for doing this.
Thank you for having me. Super excited.
This is cool. Now, first and foremost, you have to tell me, what's the story behind the name? Elizabeth II, what is that?
So my middle name is Elizabeth. Believe it or not, it's actually not my first name. So
Oh.
my first name is actually Mary, but I really like the name Elizabeth a little bit better. And when I was searching for band names, it had a nice kind of ring to it, and I wanted to put a Roman numeral after it. So I thought the second sounded really cool. But little did I know after I created the Facebook page and branded it and everything that I didn't realize it was the current Queen of England. So
Stop it.
So
Really?
I didn't realize that. That's how so out of tune I am with like what is happening in the world.
Oh
So
my God.
sometimes people who are trying to tag like a page for the Queen of England will tag my band page, and
man.
they'll do stuff like rant about the Queen of England, or along the lines of that. And I'm like, I can't do anything to help you. I'm like, why are you tagging me? I'm a band from Washington D.C. It's happened quite a few times. And then someone once
It's
messaged.
so amazing.
Yeah.
How did you miss that? Oh man, Beth, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What? So wait a minute. Then when did you find that moment when you realized, oh my God, it's the Queen of England? How was that? What happened? Like,
It was about it was a while. It was about a month in.
Okay.
So and then someone just told me like, oh, like the Queen of England. I'm like, what? Wait. Is this for real? So then I looked it up, and there she was.
Sure enough.
Queen Elizabeth,
Queen Elizabeth
II in the flesh.
There you
there
go.
she is.
And so you haven't now played on that, and you're trying like wearing a crown when you're on stage, or messing with that whole thing, or
Yeah, so I'm actually right now trying to kind of experiment with some promo shoots that I'm doing with sort
Okay.
of royalty themed aspects to it.
I
So
see.
like I haven't really played on it yet, but I'm going to.
Oh my gosh.
bet I will.
That's so fun. Holy smokes. Oh, well, there it is. And now what's your tie to the DC region? You are from where?
I'm from Ashburn, Virginia, and I've lived there for almost my entire life.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
But then there's more to that because you're around the scene doing more like at Seven Drum, or say more about your other stuff in DC.
Yeah, so I teach guitar, bass, and voice lessons at Seven Drum City out in Washington, D.C., and it is quite the commute, but it is 100% worth it because I love teaching, and the environment there is absolutely amazing. And I also go to school out in Fairfax, Virginia, so I'm everywhere.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Okay. School in Fairfax, all over the place, Virginia and DC.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good. And now tell us a story about your earliest memory with music. What comes to mind?
So what comes to mind is my parents, when I was younger, they'd always play U2 records.
Oh, yeah.
So my mom, she loves the band U2 so much that for for one of her big birthdays, my dad bought her the Irish Falcon, which
wow.
it's the gold and green guitar from Gretsch that Bono would always play on stage. So he somehow got his hands on a first line of those guitars. So there were only like 11, 12, maybe 13, a very small number of those guitars. And it was the first issues. So my very first memory would just be listening to U2 a lot when I was younger.
Holy smokes. U2. There it is.
U2, Joshua Tree. Who knew?
And when did the performing start for you?
The performing started actually in musical theater. So in middle school, I was really big into musicals.
Okay.
So I played Ruth in the Pirates of Penzance.
Oh.
I was one of the Pickle Little Ladies in the Music Man in the 8th grade. So that was really exciting. So that's how I really first started playing on stage. And then as a solo artist, I played in my middle school's talent show. I played and sang Wanted Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi. So that was
nice. Oh man.
I loved 80s music when I was younger. So I played that, and it was really cool because it was just me doing my thing.
Awesome. And no, what was guitar first? Or you said guitar and bass and vocals, and how did the instruments?
So guitar was first. I picked up a love of guitar from watching guitar players like Jimmy Page play. And I also wanted to be able to sort of write songs with it, because like I did like to sing in musical theater, and I wanted to be able to write my own songs, and I couldn't play an instrument. So I picked up guitar, and then I started to fall more in love with guitar as opposed to like singing. So then that's where the learning of guitar solos and solo techniques and learning different guitar solos from artists like Ritchie Blackmore and Zakk Wylde. So that's how I kind of delve into the world of guitar, and I've just been there ever since, just continuing to learn various styles and guitar solos just because I find it really fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they can see some of those. YouTube is kind of a place where you share some of these musings.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll find a guitar solo I really like, and half of it is me just trying to challenge myself to see if I can learn it. So I'll learn this guitar solo. I'll spend a few days practicing it, make a video, and then I'll put it online. And one of my favorite ones that I did was Sails of Charon by the Scorpions. The guitar solo to that, Uli Roth, who's their guitar player, is an amazing, like, neoclassical shredder. So learning that guitar solo was a challenge, and it took me a couple weeks to get it down and in time, but I did it, and it's there.
That's amazing. And if they're looking you up on YouTube, it's Elizabeth II?
Yeah, just type in Elizabeth II music or Elizabeth II band, because otherwise you'll get videos of the Queen of England.
Of course. Get the Queen. Absolutely.
Yeah.
More about the Queen. All right. Now, and speaking of one other performance thing, you were mentioned to me before, and I want you to share it, is the Slash story. You said there's a Slash story.
There's a Slash story.
Tell me.
So there was a situation where I found myself playing a song in front of Slash.
Okay.
So
what was that situation?
So starting from the very beginning, I was asked to perform a song in front of the Music Modernization Act caucus. And this was before it was even passed. Basically, the Grammy Foundation was just trying to encourage the people in Congress to pass this bill. So in order to do that, they had an event with Slash, and Slash came and he talked, and they want to get a young, youthful person who played guitar really well, who was local to the DC area, to play a song. So I just so happened to know Tracy Hamlin, who is a trustee in the Washington, DC Grammy Foundation chapter. And she asked me if I wanted to do it. I was like, yes, I would love to. And she's like, okay, it's in like 3 days. Whoa, okay. So she said that she would put me in contact with this producer who was going to help me arrange a song. Little did I know that this producer was Mike Clink, Slash's producer. So he did Appetite for Destruction. He did Whitesnake, Motley Crue, Heart, all these really big artists. But I didn't know that's who Mike Clink was.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So throughout the whole session, when we were arranging a song, which was Heroes by David Bowie, I didn't realize that this is like this person. Like I knew it was Mike Clink, but I didn't realize what Mike Clink did. Yeah. So when I was walking out of the building that the Grammy Foundation is housed in, I just, for giggles, looked up on my phone who Mike Clink was. And I'm like in the elevator, and I see Guns N' Roses, Whitesnake, Motley Crue, and my jaw just drops. Like, wait a minute. So I'm like texting my parents, texting my friends, like, guys, you'll never believe what just happened. Yeah. And then the actual event itself was really, really cool because I was surrounded by all these congressmen and senators that I'd see on TV because they wanted to hear about the Grammy Foundation's message about the Music Modernization Act, and they also wanted to see Slash.
Of course.
So I got to perform my song in front of Slash, and I even have like a video on my Instagram and Facebook where it's a video that my parents took where like I finished the song and then it pans over to Slash like clapping, and it's really cool.
Nice. Make sure send me that link. I'll say that on the episode notes too, so that we'll make sure you can watch that video because that's fun, man. What a cool story. That is awesome.
It's fun.
Now switch gears. Talk to us about you outside of music. So in your personal time, what else you do?
So I am a marketing major at George Mason University, and I really enjoy just marketing as a whole, specifically marketing on a social media level. So I actually recently wrote this huge paper. It was like 30 pages. This is going to sound so boring, but I absolutely love it. And I wrote about how the algorithms within Facebook and Instagram, the recent algorithm changes have affected small businesses as well as musicians and artists. And I learned a lot of really interesting things about how it really hurts a lot of musicians and local businesses just because they are intentionally hiding a lot of information from the followers and people who like your page.
Yeah.
Because they're just trying to make it a little bit more personalized. But that's just kind of the broad gist of it. There's a lot more statistics and details within it. But I love marketing.
So if you want to nerd out about marketing, send Elizabeth II a message, and you can talk about marketing too.
Let me help you.
There's a lot of that. Absolutely. Nice. All right. Now, talk about your funniest moment on stage that comes to mind.
Funniest moment on stage that comes to mind. Well, the funniest moment I would say is this whole show was just a great moment. This was very recent, and it was at a Halloween cover show that Elizabeth II played in, and we were doing a Fleetwood Mac cover set. And the keys player, his name is Doug. He's from the local band Throwing Plates. He was Christy. So we all dressed up like the band, and he has this giant beard, and he was wearing this blonde wig.
Oh my God.
And
all right.
So I would just look over and just be like, oh my gosh, Doug is dressed as Christy. This is hilarious. So that whole show was just great. It was just really funny to me.
And now explain, if they don't know who Christy is.
She is the keys player to Fleetwood Mac.
Got it.
Yeah. So we were doing a Fleetwood Mac cover set.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What a fun situation.
It was something. It was awesome. It was probably the most fun I've ever had playing a show. Playing Fleetwood Mac songs.
Fleetwood Mac is a lot of fun.
Great.
That's for darn sure. Now, what about something in your music collection that might surprise us?
Something in my music collection that might surprise you. You mean like music that I listen to or just...
Yeah,
music that I listen to? Well, I do listen to a lot of classical music.
Okay.
Not just studying, but when I'm driving, I really do enjoy classical music. And I do enjoy listening to, this is very, very specific, local bands that are based in Chicago as well.
Interesting.
Like DC always, but I found that there's some really cool Chicago bands just because I had a friend who lived up in Chicago and they would just be sending me all these bands. I'm like, this is great.
Nice. All right.
Awesome.
Chicago fan as well.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, my favorite question to ask is if you could offer one piece of advice, what would it be?
My biggest piece of advice would be to pay attention to your guitar tone.
Okay. Say more about that. What does that mean?
So as a guitar player, there is a specific sound that you can create with pedals and what amps you use. And it can either make or break the way your guitar sounds. And when a band just has a really bad guitar tone, it just makes it harder to listen to them. So just having a really good guitar tone is my biggest piece of advice, because I had a really bad guitar tone for a long time. And I feel like it really hurt me as a guitar player. And I didn't really pay too much attention to it until a few years ago.
And when you're describing a good guitar tone, what are you describing?
It's just super nice and crunchy. Basically, a bad guitar tone to me is when it sounds like someone threw a guitar amplifier into a washing machine and hit start.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Okay. Let your mind wander with that one. What
Yes.
that could mean.
That fun
Interesting.
one.
Oh, my goodness.
Little tidbit of information.
That's a good one. I dig it. And now, all right. So then if folks are interested in you and finding out more about the cool stuff that you're doing in Elizabeth II, where do they go?
You can go to my Facebook page, which is at facebook.com/Elizabeth II Music, which the second is actually 2 I's, kind of like the Roman numeral. You can go to my Instagram page, which is the exact same handle. You can go to YouTube. You'll find me there. Just type in Elizabeth II Music or Elizabeth II Guitarist. I also have a website, www.elizabeth2ndmusic.com.
That's awesome. Check out all those places. And I hope you check out more of her 2 singles, and then I'll be sure to share the new one coming up here in a minute. Now, one of the things when you're a guest on the show, you have to bring great music with you. And I know that Beth really came through on that one for this show. So I can't wait. Let's jump back into some music because we've been talking for a little bit. What do you have for us first in the way of music?
So the first one that I have for you today is by an artist called Kathy D, and the song is As It Was.
DC Music rocks. Tune in, jam on, rock out.
Can't take the pain of all you left with me. This guessing game will be the death of me. I come up empty-handed every time. There's just no reason or rhyme. So many questions unanswered. Can't find the peace that I'm after. And I wanna go back in time when everything was as it was. And you can't tell me it's alright, 'cause now I have to make it alone. Make it alone. Can't take the pain of all you left with me. Don't wanna face this new reality. My dreams attempt to sort out when and why, and if I'll see you again. So many questions unanswered. Can't find the peace that I'm after. And I wanna go back in time when everything was as it was. And you can't tell me it's alright, 'cause now I have to make it alone. Make it alone. So I can save you, 'cause I can't keep track of where I lost you. Tell me again why this happened to us, and let me get back so I can save you. And I wanna go back in time when everything was as it was. And you can't tell me it's alright, 'cause now I have to make it alone. Make it alone. Make it
And there it is, the sweet sounds of Kathy D. And the track is As It Was, and that's the single she released, As It Was. And Kathy D is short for Kathy DeToro. And so if you look her up on Spotify, that song is Kathy D. But if you look up Kathy DeToro, D-I-T-O-R-O, she is all over the place in Washington, D.C. with the cool stuff she's doing. Holy smokes.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about Kathy.
Oh, my gosh. Kathy is such an amazing woman, probably the most hardworking performer in the area. She's in the Leg Warmers. She's in another band called Party Like It's, which is like a ska party band. It's super awesome. And she also runs a nonprofit called Project Hera, which helps promote women in music and helping young women get into music. So she is such a force in the DC music scene area. And what I really love about this song is that the chord changes are super cool, but I also get like an early 2000s pop vibe from it.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's awesome.
I mean, she has that, I mean, and that's definitely her era, right? She's in the,
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, a little bit more about Kathy D. She's also a major 90s influence, obviously. If you, Gwen Stefani or Liz Phair, that's kind of her vibe. And her full name's Kathy DeToro, but she goes by Kathy D because that's what people started calling her, and that's what kind of stuck. And she's been in the metro area since she was 9. So she's a DC and Northern Virginia through and through. And she's in 3 other bands. There's an 80s band, a 90s band, and a 2000s band, respectively. So obviously you can see where some of the stuff comes from. And one secret about her is that she can rap fast.
I believe it.
So check out
I
more
believe that.
from Kathy D. I bet in some of these cover shows, she probably does some killer rap.
Oh, yeah.
Go Kathy. So that one's good. I had fun with that one. Let's keep it going. What do you have for us next?
So what I have for you next is by the Great Heights Band. It's called Better Things.
Oh, I love this song.
DC Music rocks.
I've been sleeping on the wrong side of the bed.
The Great Heights Band, and the track is Better Things, and that's off their brand new album they just released called Rad Pop. And oh my gosh, I am such a fan. These guys, I mean, if you like Weezer, OK Go, Motion City Soundtrack, The Cure, you might love more of these guys' collection, and their collection is pretty extensive. I was rocking out to them all week, and I'm just a fan. They're from Baltimore and DC. Their members live in Silver Spring or in Cantonsville, Beltsville, Columbia. They're kind of all over the map in between, but they definitely are in the DC region and around quite a bit and touring quite a bit. So, oh man, I'm such a huge fan.
They're
God,
so
Beth,
good.
Talk about them.
So they give me crazy pop punk vibes. Whenever I listen to them, it takes me back to like going to All Time Low concerts when I was younger. If they don't know All Time Low, so All Time Low it's just a pop punk band.
Okay.
Which are actually, they're from Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh.
So they're very close to the DC area. But I first heard about them because we ended up on a bill with them at Jam and Java in Vienna, Virginia. And like after we played, I just stayed around and listened to them and it was like, oh my gosh, like listen to these guys, like going over to my bandmates, getting them to listen to them because they're just so good and they're super tight.
Awesome.
I love it.
I mean, there's so much energy.
They're so
Holy
good.
smokes. And we should say, like, Eric, one of their members, runs Buzz Lounge Recording Studio. So it's the same recording studio space that was used to make Panic at the Disco, All Time Low, many of these other ones, which is in the region here. And there's just so much talent. I got a profile for them here on DCMusicRocks.com and the DC Artist Database, or just click their name in those episode notes. You can check out more, read about these guys. And then, of course, check out, I mean, they've got official music videos that are out. So their YouTube presence is pretty extensive too, but just a lot more coming from these guys. Great vibes from the Great Heights Band. Thanks for bringing those guys. I hadn't heard them until you mentioned them for this show.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I am a fan. I am such a fan.
So happy.
Now, we've got time for one more song, but before we do that, I want to stop and take a moment and say thanks. Beth, here's or Elizabeth II. Remember, her name is Elizabeth II, but I'm going to call her Beth. Beth, I love that you're doing your music thing, man. And that you are, well, first of all, killing it on guitar. Cause if you check out the YouTube stuff, there's a lot of shredding and a lot of talent going on there. But at the same time, you're still doing the music thing. And even though there's being a student and there's other life distractions and stuff, music is still a huge part of it. You're teaching the lessons. You're so involved. So I love what you're doing. So please keep putting out the music and keep rocking. Thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you.
And one more time, if they want to find out more about you and the cool stuff you're doing, where do they go?
You go to Facebook at Elizabeth II Music, and you can also go to Instagram at Elizabeth II Music, and the second is 2 I's, kind of like the Roman numeral. You can go to my website, www.elizabeth2music.com, or my YouTube channel, which all I have to do is search Elizabeth II Music into the search bar.
Right, so it's Elizabeth II Music.
Yes, and look for the blue hair.
There it is.
I have crazy
she has
blue hair.
Crazy bright blue hair. If you watch the video, we made a video of this thing. If you watch the YouTube video or if you check out the photos, it is crazy bright blue.
Oh, yeah.
Like straight out of a 7-Eleven Slurpee. Like bright blue.
Accurate.
But yes, there it is. So, and listeners, I play drums for the DC rock band Fellowcraft. And since I am a DC musician, I consider it such a treat to share these guests like Elizabeth II and this great music from right here in Washington, DC with you each week. So remember, we have resources for you too. On DCMusicRocks.com, you have access to our DC artist database of more than 400 artists that you'll love. We have a calendar to help you attend these great shows happening all over the DC area. And the bottom line is that I want to say thanks. Thanks for following DC's music. Thanks for supporting DC's musicians. And most importantly, thanks for listening. Now, last up, we're going to bring it home with Bottled Up. And ooh, I like these guys. Beth, talk about these guys.
So Bottled Up, one of their members, his name is Nico. I heard about Bottled Up from Nico because he works at 7 Drum City out in Washington, D.C., which is where I also work.
Nice.
So he told me about his band, and they're like super like indie rock, super like psychedelic vibes, which I think is really awesome. And I went to go see them play twice at Black Cat in Washington, D.C., and they're so good.
Nice.
And it's just like just a wall of really amazing rock and roll sound. And they also put out a new music video, which today, which premiered on Brightest Young Things. So
Nice.
I would check it out. Bottled Up.
Check
They're
that.
awesome.
Absolutely. I'll go back and check next week, and I'll make sure I share it with the next week's updates of music videos too, because I'll have to go track that one down. And if you want to see
Super
them
cool.
live, it looks like they're playing in Songbird Music House is coming up on January 4th, or it looks like they're making a trip down to Richmond. They're in New York as well. So they're going to be a little bit kind of all over the place. So check out more from Bottled Up, because there's lots happening there. And well, just mad talent. So let's bring it home. One more with Bottled Up. So Beth, you announce it. What do we got?
So the song is called Trash by Bottled Up.
DC Music rocks.
Thank you so much for listening to DC Music Rocks. Useful links and information about this episode can be found on the website dcmusicrocks.com. Tune in, jam on, rock out.